What is going on, my friends? I hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday here. Considering I am just waiting for some stuff to be uploaded and whatnot, I figured I would jump on and do a little bit of a live for you to kind of go through some of the comments, questions, that sort of thing. Because, yeah, I definitely do not have a whole pile of time to do it, on a day to day. So, answer some of your questions in the on my various YouTube videos. We'll chat a little bit and yeah, kind of just wait for my stuff to be all done and get wrapped up here. So hope you yeah, enjoy it. We'll see how she goes. Always lots and lots of questions. And I see lots of really positive comments and stuff like that as well, right? Like people talk about when it comes to the internet trolls and the negative things that are thrown around, and even in real life, just how people are biased against fat people and such. And you hear a lot of, I get a lot of like positive comments that talk about just the, the, the things that they have, but just how they're overcoming it and working their way through it. And, it's always so cool to see and just how people are, yeah, persevering. They're managing their weight. They're making some really huge changes in their life, and yeah, they're killing it. It's always so cool to see, So, um, and just some of the realizations that can kind of happen for people that just kind of work through their things and video resonates with them or something like that. So uh, bu- 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 some of the questions here. So why does anyone actually go with Ozempic over Zepbound if semaglutide is actually not that effective? I hate when people see skinny celebrities and they say, oh, she's got that Ozempic. And I'm just thinking, no way is Ozempic going to cause that much loss. Uh, I'm I think there's kind of a question here. So why does anyone actually go with Ozempic over Zepbound? I mean, there's multiple reasons as to why. Some people, they don't tolerate Ozempic or Wegovy, and so trial on Zepbound to see how they do on it and how it helps them to kind of manage. It that could be kind of one potential reason there. Zepbound can lead to potentially more weight loss. I have had some people who, yeah, have been on Wegovy at the top dose, then we switch them to Zepbound and they get even more of a response. I've had people who say that they just feel better on Zepbound. It's a lot of, yeah, it's really going to vary person to person and personal preference and all that kind of stuff, and the clinician that you're working with, as well as coverage and that sort of thing. So those are kind of some of the things that would lead to one person choosing Ozempic over Wegovy and whatnot like that. And then I hate when people see skinny celebrities and say, oh, she's got that Ozempic. I don't really know what the last part of that statement is, but yeah, I mean, everyone's got a journey and people are going to lose what they're going to lose. I mean, yes, in the studies, we have the averages. So with Wegovy Ozempic at the max dose, on average, it's 15% weight loss from baseline. With Zepbound, it can be upwards of 20% and even more than that. A lot of it is also going to come down to how much weight someone or how much changes someone's able to make and implement into their life, and so on and so forth. So it'll really vary person to person and what kind of response you get inside like that. So yeah. Thank you for your video, Dr. Dan. I started my Saxenda injections today, so really appreciate the video. Fantastic. Glad you liked it and gave you some more information. That's really awesome. 7 months into Ozempic and diarrhea is a mild term for what happened. Try pure water 50 to 60 times a day. All my doctor said was watch what you eat. Yeah, like I eat anything on Ozempic. Pretty sure my 600 calories a day, if I'm lucky, is not the issue. He refused to give me anything for it. And the puking, I had severe constipation for 6 months and then nothing stayed. So I took Imodium and haven't gone all week. At least I don't sound like an animal is trapped in my guts. While Ozempic is really helping my diabetes, this drug is evil. Well, why are you continuing to take it? That's kind of the big question there. I mean, the side effects aren't worth it. There's many, many, many other medications out there to utilize. And if you're getting such severe side effects and stuff like that, like this is not the right drug for you. You need to look at something else and keep following up with your clinician, maybe engaging with an obesity clinician. But yeah, you shouldn't be having side effects like that. That is, um, yeah, that's kind of that's brutal. Like it should not be occurring. Yeah. Um, so this was on my metformin video. I was on 1,000 milligrams for 2 years and didn't lose a single pound. I actually gained. My doctor bumped me to 2,000. We'll see how that goes. Also didn't lower my A1C either. Um, so if you were taking metformin, well, to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So if you gained weight, um, you were not in a calorie deficit and kind of were trying to continue, I would say, with kind of your previous dietary patterns. The fact that it didn't do anything for your A1C as well, very likely that, yeah, you hadn't made any changes to your dietary patterns and continued to eat in a similar fashion. And ultimately, that is what led to your A1C not going down and, your weight not changing or anything like that. With metformin, it's not a super great agent for weight loss, but like anything else, you've got to make the other lifestyle changes for these things to work. And these are just a tool in the toolbox to potentially help out with all the above. So, yeah. Incretin hormones, like the word increase. It's always funny. I get lots of comments about people, I don't know, kind of policing me on how I say words and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I I mean, okay, I appreciate you. I wonder what your day is like if you spend your time on the internet and on YouTube, like commenting on people and how they're pronouncing things and stuff like that. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm always curious about that, but I appreciate the insight, I guess. Thank you. Um, I'm diabetic after oral meds gave me side effects. They tried Ozempic. Since 6 days, I can't eat anything, dull abdominal pain. If I eat something, spasms increase, nausea. I'm drinking lemon water. What is the alternative? Um, I don't even know what exactly, like, yeah, and I get questions like this sometimes, and I appreciate them. Like, I appreciate people looking for questions, but you gotta follow up with your team, your care provider, and not ask questions on the internet because I don't know your medical history. I don't know other medications. I don't even know what we're really kind of treating. Like, there's just so much more, and like it's no suggestions or alternatives can really be made. So yeah. Um, Eating triggers sleepiness for me on Mojero. I'm okay until I eat. Oh, that's kind of interesting. And I find some people, I mean, it depends on what you're eating. For some people, if you're having a big meal and that's kind of what can kind of trigger the sleepiness. But I would also be looking at kind of what someone's the food that they're eating, what is the nutritional value of it, and then also what are your kind of other general sleep patterns? Like, are you getting an actually good night's sleep at night, or are you kind of already primed to be very tired and exhausted? And yeah, that was kind of happen and occur as it was. So yeah, sorry to hear that, but yeah, I would kind of just look at all the various things and kind of see if there's some changes and tweaks that you can make there. So da, da, da. Um, Dr. Dan, if I do no lose any weight while taking Ozempic, should I stop? Um, I mean, it all kind of depends. Like, are you kind of making other lifestyle changes and stuff? Are you tweaking your dietary patterns and ensuring you're in a calorie deficit? Oftentimes, like if you're not losing weight, we need to look at what it is that you're eating. And by no means does anybody like counting calories or anything like that. But sometimes that's what we need to go to. We need to make sure that we're doing it accurately and that sort of thing in order to help manage your weight and that sort of thing. So it would all kind of depend person to person. Some people, certainly these drugs don't give an appetite suppressing effect for, but if we're getting other benefits, then there's still a reason to kind of continue it. But ultimately people need to follow up with their care provider. I came to thank you for all you do. I'm now 2 years on GLP-1s, Trulicity for a year, and Mounjaro for 10 months now, down from 405 to 165. My life is a miracle. That is absolutely incredible. Yeah, good on you, my man. Yeah, that is really, really fantastic. I'm so glad to hear it. Um, Appreciate the advice and information, Dr. Dan. I've been on Tirzepatide for 6 months, type 2 and thyroid disease. The inflammation and the pain in my eye, TED, has all but disappeared, down 45 pounds. Great. Yeah, that is really, really fantastic. Um, Good for you guys. Yeah. So yeah, I always love kind of hearing these stories and how people are doing. Um, and yeah, it's so it's awesome. So awesome to hear. Um, Good for you guys. Like this is absolutely amazing. And yeah, there is no doubt about it that it requires a ton of work and changes. It's not just the medication, it's kind of everything else that kind of goes in behind it and such. And yeah, you guys are rocking it. That is fantastic to hear. I'll do a couple more questions here. Um, um, do you have any tips for getting GLP-1 agents added to patients' formulary through formulary exemption process? I mean, the pharmacy benefit managers and just drug coverage in general is like the bane of my existence. The amount of paperwork that I have to do on a day-to-day basis is mind-numbing. But in terms of like the exemption process, it it depends on the plan, it depends on the program, it depends on what the exemption is, it depends on there's just so many things. For the standard providers, like if you're looking at like Express Scripts and that sort of thing, I yeah, I haven't been able to get anything punched through. I even did one with like a hepatologist, and we had like all of this detail that we put into it, and yeah, we ultimately got absolutely nowhere. They just said nope, it's not covered. So for the most of them, it's pretty cut and dry. Yes or no. The exemption process, I really only see if it's more of like this rare disease or this condition or a random condition that maybe we don't have anything else for. Like, yeah, like it's yes or no in black and white, and really there isn't much gray or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure that when we send in all these special auth forms and stuff, it's not actually like a clinician that's reviewing them. It's just a Joe Blow, and they're kind of saying yes, no, or meets the criteria or not. And yeah, yeah. So I don't have experience with that, and would say you're probably not going to get too far. But good luck. Yeah. This is a great video with a lot of helpful information. Thank you. What about dizziness, lightheadedness, weakness? Sometimes it looks like hypoglycemia, but is it possible that without concurrent medication that is meant to manage blood sugar? Good question. So it depends on the individual. I find some people, if you're maybe in the pre-diabetes range of things, so you're kind of going towards it, and we start Ozempic, that initially there can be kind of like a little bit of an overexcited pancreas in some ways. And so there certainly could be blood sugar issues there. It's never like you're going to go into a coma and that sort of thing, because your counter regulatory systems will eventually kick in and your blood sugar will come back up. But yeah, you can feel discomfort and uncomfortable. You can get kind of hypoglycemia type symptoms and that sort of thing. And then yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's not going to feel great, you're going to want to eat and that sort, and that generally corrects it. So those kinds of things certainly can occur if you're not on other medications that also lower blood sugar levels down and stuff. So I've seen it. It's usually, well, it's very rare. But I always make sure that we're confirming with blood sugar readings if those things are occurring so that we're kind of ruling it out. Also looking at, there's not an aspect of not eating enough food and that's causing it, not hydrating enough, maybe blood pressure issues, lots of different things. And we want to make sure we check all those things off and that sort. So getting either a blood sugar monitor or slapping on a like Freestyle Libre or something like that for a couple of weeks can give you that insight to know what's going on and stuff. So um, yeah, that's a good question. Another question. I've been taking metformin and it's knocked off weight, but is dry mouth and tiredness a side effect? Yeah. Well, yes and no. So when it comes to some of these medications with diabetes, like it's tough because we don't know maybe what is the medication and what is the diabetes, because having elevated blood sugar and stuff like that certainly can lead to dry mouth, can lead to fatigue and that sort. But metformin and that sort can also cause dry mouth, can also cause potentially fatigue. Is it a matter that we're now controlling the blood sugars and that's kind of affecting things? Is it a matter that you're making dietary changes in the nutrition piece? There's a lot of different things that we would need to look at and to kind of make sure we're kind of optimizing and taking care of, to kind of rule out what is the potential things that are causing it and are running behind it. So good question nonetheless. Sweet. Holy crap. We've got all kinds of comments. Um, Do you think GLP-1 medications will ever be covered by insurance or government in Canada? So a lot of them actually already are. Maybe not like wegovy and that sort of thing, but some of them currently are covered. And I think it's coming down the pipe, but government, it takes a long time for anything to happen. So that's kind of that. Do you have any thoughts on the semaglutide AFib study? I recall something on that. I would have to go back and read it. Yeah, I'd have to double check on that one and kind of get you a bit more info and review on it. Systematic review and meta-analysis. Yeah, I'd have to kind of see go into it a little bit more intentively. I haven't really maybe reviewed it, I think, at this point in time. But yeah, stay tuned. I'm sure it'll be a video in the future here. I'm a 44-year-old woman. I need to lose 50 pounds. It's extremely hard. I count calories and work out. Um, yeah, I mean, this all is extremely hard. Losing weight is extremely, extremely challenging and stuff. Yeah, it takes a lot of lifestyle changes. Unfortunately, a lot of people kind of drag their old lifestyle behaviors behind them and don't really actually change many and all the different aspects of their life, and even like the people that you're hanging out with and that sort of thing. But it's making tweaks and changes in your life that are enjoyable and that you can sustain long term. That is really, really the biggest key here. If you're not making enjoyable and sustainable changes, well, then you're going to gain the weight back ultimately. So it's finding ways to incorporate and make those changes and tweaks, and then also not hyper focusing on a number like I must lose 50 pounds. That's almost guaranteed to not end well in multiple ways. And so yeah, it's kind of focusing on health and trying to be as healthy as you can and going from there. So what is the best way to fight the fatigue from compounded tirzepatide? Um, I mean, I'm not a recommender of the compounded meds or anything like that. So my first thing would be kind of like, is there something else that's in the compounded component? And we're finding that there is other stuff that's being added that shouldn't be there, or things that are not on the label and that sort of thing. So it'd be kind of making sure that it is what it is and says what it is and all that good stuff. And then, yeah, in terms of the fatigue aspect, I really always go back again to what is the current nutritional status? Are you getting adequate nutrients, adequate protein, all of that kind of stuff? And yeah, kind of tweaking on that. And then sometimes with these drugs, there can be fatigue, and the fatigue usually goes away after, I mean, it depends person to person, but it could be a couple of months before the fatigue goes away and starts to lessen up. Sometimes it's just the way that your body's responding to it and that sort of thing. So, yeah, could be multiple things there. Would have to kind of just work your way through the list, try one thing, and kind of see what the look like is and stuff like that. So, um, thanks. No problem. My pleasure, everybody. What's the approach to maintenance dosing of tirzepatide? Well, I'm going to wrap things up here, but approach to maintenance, I have a video on that. So it's one of my more recent videos. Definitely go and check that out in terms of maintenance dosing and how you would go about it. And kind of I do a lot more in-depth step-by-step, but I've got to go eat some food before I head out for the evening. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in, everybody. Glad we could chat. Always good to catch up. And thank you for the comments, questions, and all of the above, and the ongoing support. Hit the like button for Dr. Dan. Yes, definitely. Everybody hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to all your friends, family, and everything in between. And yeah, I appreciate the ongoing support, everyone. It's always great to chat. So until next time, we'll see you later. Have a good rest of your Saturday.